Indian River Connections brings you the first source you can watch for truth on board decisions in Indian River County. The Board Report, where taxpayers and policymakers intersect. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite platform to get notified when we go live on Fridays at 7 p.m. Visit IndianRiverConnections.com for more.
Hi guys, welcome to the Board Report. Oh, wait. Hang on, guys. Yes, we're going to remove this. I thought it automatically went over. Sorry. Hold on. I'm trying to get myself off the screen.
Indian River Connections brings you the first source you can watch for truth on board decisions in Indian River County. The Board Report, where taxpayers and policymakers intersect. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite platform to get notified when we go live on Fridays at 7 p.m. Visit IndianRiverConnections.com for more.
Hey guys, welcome to the Board Report.
What's up? How you doing?
Hey Mike, if you were watching, did you see that? Did you see what happened?
Double intro. All right, it's a good intro, so it works out fine. Yeah. It's all
Gotta
good.
keep it exciting, right?
It's all it is. Got to keep it fun.
So I hope you guys are all joining us tonight because we've got Justin Story on tonight, and he is a Republican candidate for the Florida Congressional District 9. He is a retired U.S. Marine Corps officer,
Nice.
pilot, and sixth-generation Central Floridian.
Oh, very cool. Nice. It seems like a lot of the guys that are running are all veterans, which I think is really cool that everybody's served their country and then they're coming back around and serving their country all over again.
All over again, yeah.
So it's
Getting more intimate with that service.
yeah. I mean, but it's practice. It helps. It helps you get ready for your next role and what these guys are going to play in the future for our country, and and what needs to take place to get our power back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we get to hear Justin Story's story tonight.
That's awesome.
I had to play on that. That's like a
Yep.
play on words there.
Can you not? It's a
So
good
let me
deal.
see if we can pull him on up,
All right.
and let me see if I'm going to do this the right way.
All right.
All right, Justin, thank you for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me, Joanna, John. It's a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I love that we've got so many people running for District 9. There's one person, seems like almost it covers every county.
Yeah, it's such a big district now. When we first got in this race about a year ago, it's just the three counties, Osceola, parts of Orange, and parts of Polk. But now we brought in the troops and got all 7 counties in to flip this seat blue to red and make sure we get rid of the progressive Darren Soto, of course.
Yeah, we got to get that Democrat out of there.
100%. He's, he seems like a moderate person on the surface, but you dig down into his voting record, you really don't have to dig down into it. You just kind of take a bird's eye view over it, and you see how progressive he is. When you align with Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi, 98% of the time when you vote and President Trump can't do anything right, you know you're kind of misrepresented up in Washington.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Justin, I wanted to ask you a little bit about your military service because I kind of want to separate you from all the other guys because like John was saying, we've got quite a few people that have been in this service. So tell us a little bit about your service history. You know, how long did you serve active duty and how long in the reserves were you?
Yep.
You were also a pilot, right?
Correct. I started early on. There's a Marine Corps PLC program down here. It's all over the country, but we have an office here in Orlando. And I was working at Walt Disney World, going to school full-time, working full-time at our local community college and saying, you know what, I need something better in my life. And I saw a Marine poster. It's still there at Disney. It's the sergeant, you know, the World War II one with the sergeant with his hands behind his back. It's there at MGM Studios. And I said, you know what, I think I can do this. So I was recruited out of Disney.
Wow.
And I did the PO. So I spent my summer times in between semesters of college going to officer candidate school, finished up community college, went to University of Florida, graduated with an economics degree, and took my commission into the Marine Corps right here in my hometown of St. Cloud, Florida, in our Veterans Park, in front of family, friends, work colleagues. It was a great event. From there, every Marine officer, we go to the basic school, which is just learn how to be an infantry officer, learn how to be an officer. You learn everything, the nuts and bolts. That's where most people get their jobs. My job, I had taken an aviation test. I've never really flown an airplane, never touched a plane, but I took the test and I got an aviation contract. So I knew I was going to be a pilot on the backside of that. Worked my way through and landed in the seat of an F-18 Hornet out on the West Coast and in a single seat carrier squadron. We were deployed upon the John C. Stennis. Back in the days, if you remember, President Bush wanted 2 carriers in the region to cover both Afghanistan and Iraq, so we were part of that. Both us and the Nimitz, I believe, was the other carrier out there. So we flew strike missions for a few weeks over Afghanistan. Then we'd fly some strike missions for a few weeks over Iraq, go back and forth. And so that's what we did on that deployment. It lasted about 8 months. We came
So
on
what
home.
were you flying when you do the flight missions?
F-18 Hornet. So the Blue Angels, that's their airplane. I flew the Legacy version. They have they traded their Legacies in a couple years ago. They now have the Super Hornet, but the predecessor to the Super Hornet was the F-18 Legacy Hornet. I flew the Charlie model, which is a single seat version that's used for our aircraft carrier missions to fly off the decks of the carriers. There's typically a Marine squadron out there somewhere that's deployed with our Navy air wings off the carriers, and we were the one that cycle, of course, over to the Middle East.
Wow. So what do you think about what's going on in Iran right now, the war that we're kind of dealing with, where we kind of hit Iran for 13 nights in a row, and then Iran, you know, retaliated back, and, you know, CENTCOM's hit dozens of Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and in Iran. Tell us, where do you stand on that and what's going on?
So Iran obviously just had they're dug in for the past 40-something years. You know, it used to be you had Iraq and Iran. They kind of were the yin and the yang. They were supposed to balance each other out over there. But when we removed Saddam, the date that President Trump fulfilled was set on the calendar that day that we took Saddam out. It's a culture that deals, I don't know how else to say it, but they're just a bunch of a-holes over there. And so President Trump knows that to negotiate, so he hit them hard first. And I think he kind of stirred the hornet's nest, obviously. All the allies in the region, you know, they got bombed. Our bases got bombed. Everything got bombed, but that's what he wanted to negotiate with. I'm not privy to any of his intelligence reports. He thought that there was a threat there. You know, we tried to bomb the nuclear facilities earlier on with our B-2 bombers and deep underground stuff, but apparently there still was a threat that he thought needed to be eliminated, to include their intercontinental ballistic capabilities. So he hit them. but they're irrational. They don't want to negotiate. They just want to keep everything. The last thing we want is a nuclear Iran, of course, in that region of the world. You see how North Korea, of course, isolates themselves. Iran, I don't think they would just isolate themselves. They would try to, control the region, because that's just what they want. They want power. So now that we're there, we have to finish the job quickly. We have to finish the job efficiently. Listen, I was part of this 20-year nation building in Afghanistan, and it's just not what we want to do. There's kids deploying over there that were born after the attacks of 9/11. So literally, we remember it because we were all somewhere when the towers fell, right? We remember that day like yesterday. Us as a nation all felt hit. But, there was kids that just have nothing, they have no recollection of it because they were either really young or not even born yet over fighting that war. So if we're going to do something, we've already done something, the cat's out of the bag. I think we have to, of course, bring it to Congress, make sure we allocate the appropriate funding and get the job done, whatever the president sees fit. And that's a debate that we all have to have, because if it involves sending our young men and women over, our brothers, our sisters, of course, sons and daughters, that's a power that us, the people, give the government, that gives Congress, and that needs to be debated before the president acts on that, if that's the route that we determine that needs to happen. But ultimately, I don't want to see the poor Iranian people, the Persians, they just were run over. You see pictures of those ladies back in the 70s, they were,
yeah,
their hair,
they look just like us.
Look just like us, and then you come over with the radical Islam regime and the rules that these people have, that you can cuddle kids, and the women, you don't matter if you do this thing, the husband comes and beats you. Like, you can't have a civilized society when you're still dealing with cultures back in the 13th, 14th century.
Yeah.
Well, it's their ideology that they believe, in the Sharia law and all that stuff. When we were going to war with them, I was really concerned, because I was like, these are the people that wars never end, because that's their goal. They will die for Allah and continue fighting and fighting and fighting.
Well, you got to also remember, Joanne, that our country helped fund what they're doing over there through the Obama administration and the pallets of cash and the Uranium One deals that they did. So we, as our country, were actually helping to fund and to make Iran become the way they were, because they were going to be the nuclear power in the Middle East to start nuclear war. And that's the main reason why Trump is doing what he's doing, because this isn't a new war. This is not like another new war. This is a 47-year war, like he said.
Yeah, it's the same war.
So it's the same war. It's just continued, and we're trying to put an end to that war and put an end to the Islamic regime and put an end to the people there being enslaved. Like you said, the women can't do this and all these different things that they do that are very inhumane. And so that's what is putting to an end, to be honest with you.
But the protesters, I mean, 50, 60,000 people they just kill, like,
They
just for speaking up,
them.
and, obviously all those people aren't military, but like, I think they would rather have a fighting chance than to be the drug out into the street and just.
That's
So,
exactly
Justin,
it.
are we looking at a long-term strategy or a short-term strategy?
So that's up to President Trump. I want it in and out. Like I said, I've had a career defined by 20-year forever wars, nation building. I think you have a population there, unlike Afghanistan, where you have these mullahs that, they marry 12-year-old girls and do all this nonsense. Like, it's such a culture, they can't really jump into our, society. But, you, like we were saying, you have a friendly population in Iran that's just literally, that's the government, I almost said Shah. I didn't mean that, but the Ayatollahs, the radical Islam that's over the top of these people. If you could get rid of that, I think you could see that country turn around quickly. Now, how we do it, that's up for Congress to debate, and of course, reconcile with the president and the Secretary of Defense to figure out what they need to get the job done. And I think we need to support that, because and it's far beyond gas prices. Like when you're talking thousands, tens of thousands of people dying, like us talking about expensive gas prices is petty. I mean, people feel it in their pocket, but let's be honest. I mean, it's kind of a genocide going on at this point. And sure, we stirred the hornet's nest, but every time I stir a hornet's nest around here, I make sure I kill all of them before.
Before you get stung.
Yeah, before I get stung.
Exactly.
But well, it's hard to do in those lands because they have tunnels underground and
Yeah, and they have
literally have like cities under the ground.
and all of our equipment that borders Afghanistan that Joe Biden left. It's all sitting right there as well. So
Yeah, what
who
was
knows?
that, like $83 million dollars or 83?
Oh,
It was,
millions probably
it was-
one of the weapon systems, like billions of dollars of
or 83 billion. I remember it was like up there,
Yeah.
what was left, and I can still remember the exit. It was a terrible exit.
Yeah,
So
it's-
is there like a strategy that you would support to reduce the cyber threat from Iran and close this war out? What, if
you said
guys,
cyber threat.
Yeah.
The way you reduce cyber threats is to harden your own infrastructure, right? And I know we have agencies that we probably don't like that they're out there spying maybe on us. Hopefully they're not spying, but trying to fight these threats before they come to our shores. Obviously, I go to the Middle East all the time, even in my current job. It's around the world, but like you said, when you start talking digital attacks, I mean, I don't know if our electric grid can, if they target that, you literally shut down sections of this country, they say, with cyber attacks, or our water facilities. So obviously you have to harden against that. And President Trump he's a great negotiator, but you have to have a willing party on the other side, and they seem to not be willing. And they know if they can drag it out, they're progressives as well, right? Over there, and they know if they can just drag it out, they may get a friendlier face in the future. So I think we need to end it quickly if we want to end it on our terms.
Yeah. Is it possible though?
Anything's possible in this world. Like I said in the debate, when you get the country behind something, there's nothing that we can't do. So, and that's the point of bringing this in front of Congress, to mobilize the production, to mobilize the money, to mobilize the population, to make sure that we're behind this 100%. And because let's be honest, we're taking the eye off the ball of communism in our backyard when it comes to dealing with Iran. Last thing we want is have two fires in two different hemispheres, especially one in our backyard.
Well, it feels like we do have one in our backyard right now.
With Venezuela or Cuba or both of them, or
No, it feels like we have one in our backyard right here while we're dealing with Iran. We've got Mandami in New York, with Islam in the cities right here in our own country. And I know that China is a threat too, but at the same time, we're dealing with Iran, and we've got a city in New York that's slowly collapsing every day. I just heard on the news that Mandami was using government sources to dox the richest people,
Right.
and put their information out there. And I'm like, wow, we've got a lot of issues here as well as over there. And then we've, like you said, Venezuela and Cuba. It's just seems like a lot.
The doxing thing, I remember, the big thing about reducing or eliminating these databases for gun owners as well. What's the next government's going to come in and dox people with their private firearms?
Well, yeah, I think that's what all the data centers are going to be doing. They're going to be sucking all of that information in there. We've got the flock cameras that are going up, Axon going up, and all of that information where is it going? It's going into those big hubs. And then we've got the digital currency. Where is that going to be going? Is that going to be feeding into these digital hubs? And it's mass surveillance, and that's a form of communism coming towards me, if you ask me.
Well, the communism is of course, the government, or the means of production, of course, to the people, right? And then so fascism really focuses down on controlling the people when it comes to. You wonder if you need so many data centers if you didn't have such a big surveillance state that's trying to build it right in our backyards.
Yeah, like, it'll be mass surveillance. I mean, without the data centers, we already have flock cameras
Yeah, I see 'em.
identifying people and trying to arrest, cops trying to arrest people because they look like what the flock camera caught. And, you're seeing this on social media and like, wow, this can really get out of hand.
It's something, I see them popping up. I think I've counted 3 or 4 between my drive from the house from here to town, just randomly popped up in our neighborhoods. And even cities like LA are saying, no, we don't want it. The city councils are banning them in certain areas within their cities. And you wonder, what's it for? People always say, hey, you give up your right to privacy when you go out in public, right? But I think there's a difference of being caught on a camera, like a Ring doorbell or some security camera. Sure, yeah, my face is on there. Than actually tracking you, building a profile, building, between your car, who's near you, just by.
Yeah, but the thing is with those though, I mean, the flock cameras, we lived life without them before. So why are they so important, and why are they so front center right now?
And so I think what you're seeing
We don't need them. I mean, it's unnecessary as far as I'm concerned. I've always felt that way. Those things started popping up all over Indian River County. Nobody knew what the hell they were. They were like, what are these, like these cameras with these
solar panels on the side.
Yeah.
They aren't even plugged into anything. And I mean, you see the ones on the the lights, the red light cameras, but all of a sudden all these other ones were popping up too, and I'm like, this doesn't make any sense now. Like, this is becoming a problem, and of course it's because of the surveillance state and the new world order and things of that nature that the enemy is trying to usher in. So it's all just going to be track and trace no matter what you do. You bring your phone, you have a flock camera, you have facial recognition. Your phone has facial recognition on it. If you have a phone that has facial recognition on it, you're basically giving over your recognition of your face to the system every time you look at your phone. So I mean,
I'm an airline pilot. I gave that up a long time ago.
That's what I mean. So, you give up your sovereignty for your job. Yeah.
I fought it, and it should not be a thing where your work, you have to give up so much. I have to go through a daily background check with the TSA rat back system.
But it's okay. It's okay to vote without an ID though.
Just to get
you're going to go through that for your job.
Right. I have to fly an airplane. I have to go through a daily background, submit my fingerprints, and they have to scan my records every day to see if I've been arrested or what.
Yeah, you're a real threat. You served your country, and now you have this job, and now they got to check on you every 10 minutes to see if your social credit standing has changed. It's not good.
But I tried to sound the alarm on it. There's just not enough of if you look throughout. Social media is getting better with it because you can kind of get the sense of what's happening. But there's groups throughout the past years that have been trying to raise the alarm on it. Now it's just finally it's visible in our backyard, right?
Right, because they're showing up everywhere.
We've tried this, like my little group, the pilot group's like, hey, why are we having to submit to this? But no one really listened to us because there's not enough of us, bitching pilots. But there's other groups throughout society that kind of said the same thing, and now it's visible with the flocks. They can see who you're with,
everything,
your phones, and then they can see what you're buying, and they're building this whole. I call it a shadow profile. It's a shadow more mischievous than Peter Pan's shadow. Right. There's no amount of daylight that can get rid of it.
This is something that you're going to, if you end up in Congress, you're going to be dealing with this because, as you can hear, we're the constituents and we are very concerned about it. And you've even dealt with it, mentioning it right here. I know that you've also been concerned. So where do you believe the constitutional line is between legitimate public safety and government surveillance?
And after this, we'll take a break for a commercial.
Yeah.
All right, very good. So like we had mentioned, there's a difference between just catching your face on the camera than actually building a profile with you. We have these a process where you take information and you bring it in front of a judge if you're talking a law enforcement function, right? And so you ask the judge to access this. I think there needs to be guardrails as well, and how much information that they keep or how long they keep the information on you, right? Like, it shouldn't just go into some cloud and it's there for life, like some folder they come and put in front of you and, hey, here's what we have about your life, trying to blackmail you or something. So there has to be limits on that. And if you look over in Europe, they do a lot of stuff bad, but some things they do good. They have these right to forget laws where, I want my digital identity removed, and it should apply to this as well.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Because cloud does save everything. I can't tell you how many times I've deleted stuff from my
And
cloud.
it comes right back.
And I'm like, well, how do I clean my cloud if it keeps coming back?
Yeah.
Where is it going that I can't get rid of it?
And you should have a right to be forgotten, I think is what they call it over there. And so
good luck with that. Everything on the internet's never erased. None of it's erasable, so it's always going to be there no matter what. Nothing you can do about that.
But guardrails on how long, it's accessible. I'm with you. Listen, man, I'm with you. It's just there.
Once it's on the internet, it's been.
You would hope that you could put
a lot. You were in the military, so it's recorded a lot deeper and deeper than we realized how far this stuff gets.
And you would hope that you would have a judiciary there that if you bring charges of someone, they just don't rubber. They actually look at the stuff, but. We see what happens to judges over the
that's
years.
the other thing, yeah.
All right, let's take a pause and go to a commercial.
And
we'll come right back.
We also have a question for you as well.
Thanks.
All right. You want to do the question first?
Take a break and then we'll do the question.
All right. Let's move to this commercial.
There's a kind of strength you can't buy or borrow. It's born in the fire, tempered by sacrifice, and carried by those who never stopped serving. Some heroes wear uniforms. Others wear scars. They're veterans, first responders, and Gold Star families. Men and women who gave everything and still keep giving. At the Warrior Shield Foundation, we stand beside them, shoulder to shoulder, providing the support, the care, and the community they deserve. We're a proud non-profit, a 501c3, built to protect those who protect us. We don't just serve our own. We help other non-profits reach their missions too, because together, we make the Shield stronger. Donate and help our cause, help their cause, because every act of kindness builds hope where the battle still rages inside. Join the mission. Donate today. Visit warriorshield.org. Because heroes deserve a foundation as strong as their sacrifice.
All right, guys, we're back. We've got that question. And is it what will you do to hold local sheriffs accountable?
Yeah.
With the flat cameras?
Yeah.
Or in general, yeah.
Yeah, in general, the sheriff's supposed to be your top law enforcement officer within the county, right? We're in a unique situation. Our first Democrat sheriff was removed from office because he was running a gambling facility down on the other end of town. And so Governor DeSantis put him in jail and removed him, and he appointed a sheriff. To be quite frank, he doesn't even live in the county. He lives a few counties up from us down here, and he hasn't been elected yet. So how do you hold him accountable? I think you hold him accountable by at least electing a sheriff that lives in your district, right? Like, you have to have someone that lives in your county. We, the citizens, give the badge over to a sheriff to hold law enforcement actions over us, right? So I think it's imperative that he lives within your own county. As far as funding for I don't know if that's the thing. You got a FOIA request where these flock cameras are coming from. You can kind of build the picture on what's going on. Where they're putting on which right-of-ways, if it's state roads or county roads, you name it. But I'm friends with lot of the SWAT members here, we work out at the gym together. They're my friends. They need to be funded with what they have to do. You want them coming into your door. Now, the sheriff, of course, is a political situation, so it's a little different when you talk to him, and you just got to make sure you elect constitutionally accountable people that live in your yard or your backyard, because they have to live with you. If not, they're going to live somewhere else. They're not attached to you. You don't have a kindred spirit with them. I think our current appointee, he's under allegations of corruption again, as far as sweetheart contract deals with other, to change a badge or something. It's mainly because he's not here. He doesn't have a connection with us. So I think
that makes perfect sense.
Sunlight cures a lot of stuff. So how do you hold them accountable? Don't let them do stuff in secret. And if you don't like it, speak up. Say, hey, you're not going to be our sheriff again if you do these things to us. Or why are you doing this? Okay, we can give you some leeway on that, but let's have some constitutional guardrails and some judicial guardrails on that. We still have a Fourth Amendment in this country. It's
Yeah, we talked about, Iran and the stuff that's going on over there. But what I wanted to ask you is NATO. A lot of our NATO countries were not really supporting the United States. And it made me wonder, why are we even in NATO? Why don't we just get rid of NATO? I mean, we are a strong arm United States, and they need us to help them more than we need them, obviously. So why are we bothering with NATO? If they're going to need us, they're going to have to pay for us to have us come and help. And I don't want to see us spending our money to help rebuild their nations when they don't even step up to help us out.
Yeah, and it goes a little further too. They really don't have military spending compared to ours, right? They rely on us, and it allows for these huge social networks that you see over in Europe that, with their health care, with whatever else that they have over there, because they don't have military spending. So everything's a scarcity in this world. So that's what they focus their spending on. And so they're not an ally to help out. Whenever we feel a strong threat in Iran, they should step up with us. They just can't. They're giving all their money to the immigrants that have crashed their borders over there and ruining their proud cultures. I tell people all the time, I go to Europe often, and I'm like, it's changing. Like, if you want to go see England, if you want to go see, Spain of all places, or France, go see it, because they're rapidly, or Germany's one of the worst. They're rapidly changing their cultures with this unmitigated immigration. They're burning their churches down. It's sad, because these are Western cultures that we're allies with, and eventually we're going to have to start reworking our ally treaties, because when these governments start going to more hostile approaches to us, eventually we're just going to have to let them go.
Yeah, because they're not a Western civilization anymore.
That's right.
I mean,
they would have taken a step back, I think.
that's why they're in NATO, because we're protecting the Western civilization, and we're all unified in that. And right now, Britain's lost its Western civilization pretty much. The
Right.
people are out there chanting in the streets trying to get Christianity back. And you've got, you can't even recognize it in some areas because it's completely Islamic.
So are we going to share intelligence with them? Or are we going to share? And I think that's the reason why you don't see us helping out. They have such a huge Islamic population in their borders now that if they were to help out, they may have troubles back home.
Yeah, and do we know if they're really helping out and they're really still an ally?
Right. Yeah, that's the
what
thing.
I would be concerned about, is the infiltration, because we know the subversion and all of that stuff. I mean, I'm not military, but common sense tells me if you wanted to infiltrate the United States, you can pretend that you are an ally, and you certainly can do that if you're taking over. Britain, you almost can't recognize Britain in some areas.
It's London. The Qataris own more real estate in London now than the Crown of England. So if that means anything to you, it's remarkable.
So in speaking about that, do you think that we should also be focusing on the United States? Should we be concerned about what we're seeing in the United States? This is the beginning of what Britain and Britain saw, in the beginning, and they didn't really do much about it. Right now we've got people that are losing their freedom of speech, and they've lost that over there in Britain.
What was it in your backyard? I was at work. I was going to come down and protest. Before we joined our districts, they were wanting to put one of these Islamic centers right out there off of Highway 60, right in Indian River County. These
No. That was not what was happening over there. You're talking about the Epic Estates. No, that was a land banker that was purchasing land, and nobody knows what they want to do with that land. And everybody, I know my podcast was questioning it because they are from Texas, and we didn't know anything about them. And they are called Epic. And they when they came to the county commission, they stated that they had 400 investors, that they were not the voice of one, but 400 investors, and they wanted to come and make Indian River County their home. And on all this property that they own. So it did raise a lot of suspicions and all that stuff, but they're Indian. They're not Islamic.
I go to the Middle East all the time. It's full of Indians. there's a symbiotic relationship with the Middle East and India. Trust me.
That's what rose questions on my podcast, because I started doing research on what is the culture like in India, and I was like, and I mentioned in my podcast, I says, well, we need to research this, because just because you say you're Indian doesn't mean you don't have an Islamic relation or anything, because in India, it's like the second largest nation of populated Islam.
Well, India and Pakistan used to be one. Then after World War II, the Muslims broke off and formed Pakistan. I'm not going to the history on that, but listen, there's a business relationship there. If you ever get a chance to go to the Middle East, go do it. India comes. That's how they make their.
Well, yeah. So I was doing research, and I was.
We got a question, and then we're gonna after this break, we gotta take another break, Justin, and then after that, we got a question for you about term limits. So let's do that real quick, and we'll do term limits.
Are you taking us to a commercial, John?
Yeah, I'm going to do it right now.
Okay.
All right, guys.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Pippin, and I'm running for Indian River County Commission District 2. As a wife, mother, and longtime community advocate, I've spent years standing up for taxpayers, families, and government accountability. I'm running to protect our quality of life, support law enforcement, manage growth responsibly, and ensure your tax dollars are spent wisely. To learn more, request a yard sign, volunteer, or get involved, visit votejenniferpippin.com. Together, we can keep Indian River County the best place to live, work, and raise a family. I'm looking forward to earning your vote on August 18th.
I'm Dr. Jackie Rosario. I'm a mom and educator, and I'm honored to serve as your school board member for District 2. In 2022, I was endorsed by Governor Ron DeSantis as the common sense conservative voice on the school board, protecting parental rights, holding bureaucrats accountable, ensuring local control, school choice, and academic excellence for all students. As an experienced, qualified leader with proven results, I'll continue fighting for safe schools, academic excellence, and opportunities that prepare every student for college, careers in technical, vocational areas, military service, and life. Your voice matters, and your vote counts. On August 18th, re-elect me, Dr. Jackie Rosario, to remain your school board member for District 2. Let's continue to reach and teach every child, every day, in every way. Visit reelectjackie.com for more information.
There we go.
All right. What's that question?
How do you feel about the term limits?
We need term limits. I signed the term limit pledge. It's right there on the front of my website, and every member of Congress should not be a Nancy Pelosi, should not be, you name it. Bernie Sanders, Chuck Schumer, whoever else is
McConnell,
done. Yeah,
Biden.
you name it. Like, Is McConnell alive? I don't know. Are they holding out so they don't have to do a special election? You never.
No.
I don't want to laugh over someone's health, but my goodness,
Yeah, he's getting better. I think last I heard he was released from the hospital,
Well, thank God.
or I think it was the My Pillow young lady that does the Capitol interviews. I love her.
Okay.
She's got red hair, and she went in and they let her talk to him, and he was cognitive and he was
Perfect.
doing better. But
Perfect.
still, they're so old. Some of them have walkers. Some of them can't drive anymore. And when you're that old, you no longer are growing up in the world of today.
No.
You left your world 40, 50 years ago. And times have changed, and how people are living and surviving is so much different than a congressman who's been getting rich, stock rich, trading, and has, service helping them everywhere they go. They don't even drive their own cars, some of them.
No, and they start getting funded by PAC, incumbent protections, a very real thing. So, they get in there, and the newer generations have to have a say. They can't get in, but yet the older ones are just spending the money like it's crazy. We're no longer borrowing from our kids. We're literally stealing from them because there's no intention to ever pay them back, So term limits would help, and they say, well, if the staff, they get stronger. Well, I think that argument is voided whenever you elect leaders to Congress. Like, I'm not going to get run over by a staff when I'm up there. I have what I want to get done, and I will ask, how do I get it done? I'm not going to be driven around by a staff that's been up in DC, for 30 years or whatever. It may be useful to help me get in to get things I want done, but I don't agree with the argument that the staff gets stronger if the politician has term limits.
Yeah, and I think term limits is really a good way to recycle the leadership, because you're coming from our shoes. Like I said, you're coming from what the times are offering at that moment, from that level. You're going in like you're not a millionaire. You're not a billionaire right now. So if you go in, you're walking in from our shoes, from living society, in a society we live in. But if you're going to be there for 30 years trading stocks, now you're worth millions of dollars. You're no longer walking in my shoes. So how can you relate and understand what's going on anymore?
They can't, but it's up to us to get them out. That we're the ultimate term limits, but it's hard to do it whenever there's just so much money in politics now, and the people literally don't open up their eyes until probably next week, when it comes to early voting.
Well,
go ahead.
Story. What I wanted to ask you too is, because we're talking about this, but immigration has been a huge issue, and we have welcomed immigrants from around the world, but historically there has also been an expectation of assimilation into our constitutional system, and I think that's where it's failed. What should Congress do to encourage civic integration while still protecting religious freedom? And where do you draw the line between celebrating cultural diversity and preserving a shared American civic identity?
My wife, she's from Venezuela. She came over, she fled asylum. We still do birthday parties and stuff, and our kids speak Spanish, and, I'm a native Floridian, I do my best to hang on with it sometimes. But first of all, the legal immigration, you can't have the illegal immigration. And then whenever you come over, it's literally in our laws, you can't take welfare. And so many have taken welfare because Milt Friedman said it best, you can't have unfettered immigration, and I paraphrase, with a welfare system. You'll just get bled dry. So you have to start there. Those that have taken welfare, I'm sorry, you have to go home. Irish came over, so a lot of the ones from Europe, way back, 100 years ago, 120 years ago, they went home. You come over and you make it, and you go home. We have an American culture. It's borders, language, and culture, right? And that's where it starts with. I think some of the kids that come over, they're carrying the jackets of their parents. The parents may have not have come over a legal way. I don't know if they did or they didn't, but the kids grew up in our schools. They speak our language. I think they should be able to serve in our military. They can't do it there, but if they can, they love this country, and they're literally just kind of persona non grata. We have different laws when it comes to adults and minors throughout all levels of society. If that minor wants to go and be a Marine, because they come to me and ask me how to be a jet pilot or a Marine, and I said, it's not in your cards, brother. You just can't do it. I think if someone wants to wear the uniform, let them go do it. That's a pathway to citizenship. But if they can't qualify in the Marine Corps, we have different Peace Corps. You go work on the Indian reservations. You go do things for this country, and that's how you build people into the fold to being an American. And it starts with us too. We tutor these kids. We do everything, and I'm the American with them. I tell them how to do things when it comes to, come over for our Thanksgiving dinner. A lot of them, some cultures don't, obviously outside of America, you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, but hey, come over and we have big Thanksgiving. You got to reach out to your neighbors too and invite them in to be a part of the culture. And if you just start closing people out, well, then they form their own pockets of their own little cultures. Miami is a great example of it. You got little Haiti, you got Venezuela out to the west, you got the Cuban, you got everyone just kind of living in their own cultures down there, and they all kind of get along and do things. But and it makes that identity down there. And I've lived down there before, and if you never have, it's pretty unique to be a part of. But I think ultimately, we want freedom-loving, constitutional-loving people. And
I grew up in New York, and we have Little Italy, we have Chinatown,
there's little Chinatown.
We have Germantown, but they all have integrated very well into Americanism. So, and I've seen that, but what I see now is people they're not integrating very well, and they don't understand our Constitution, which kind of makes it weaker, because now we're a salad bowl rather than a melting pot. So, like the Constitution, even with our representatives, we look at Elon Omar. We've got people swearing on the Bible, which it's not required for you to swear on the Bible. The Constitution, it requires officials to swear or affirm an oath to support and defend the Constitution, but it doesn't require them to use a religious text, right? So would it be better to reflect our constitutional system if members of Congress were sworn in using the United States Constitution instead of a religious book? And, why and why not would it be better to do it that way? Because we've got people from the Quran, like Elon Omar, swearing on her Quran. So she's swearing on her Quran, the law that she believes in, not the Constitution, is where I'm going with this.
I think if someone doesn't have good intentions, they can swear on whatever they want to, and they're just going to do whatever they want to do, right? Like whether it's over the top, if they're a liar, they're a liar, right? If they have no intention on upholding the Constitution, they'll say what needs to be done, whether they're put their hand on the Constitution and the National Archives or, Abraham Lincoln's Bible. It's you just got to make sure you elect people of good character that are going to go up there and do the right thing. And that's obviously follow limited government set out forth by our Constitution. And and obviously we were raised on Christian ideals in this country, and that's what we were founded on. So that's what our society's built on, and that's what our forefathers, when they're trying to build a country. Do we write rules for the people, or do we write rules for the government? Well, they relied on religion and moral values to manage society, and they just wrote a document limiting a government, right? And that's what we're supposed to follow. Of course, people read into it. Thank you, lawyers. And they try to change things around.
So how should America protect religious liberty while ensuring that every community respects constitutional principles, equal protection under the law, and the rights of others? And I'm asking that question because we can go to Dearborn, Michigan, and that's not really, when you have or even in New York City, when you shut down the whole city block for a bunch of people to just pray, the sidewalks are no longer free, and all the Christians and Jews and Baptists and Protestants that we've had in this nation, nobody has shut down a street to stop traffic or impede anybody's movement to pray. That's where that question derives from.
So, obviously that's a local issue to clean the streets out. Governor Sanders, you can't be out there in the streets. When it comes to just accepting everything of a religion, I think we have a history of not doing that, right? The Mormons, the Latter-day Saints, they used to be a polygamous religion. They can't practice that here in the United States. We have frameworks where we limit what you can do within the confines of our laws within your religion. I'm sure there are some sacrifices in some of the religions. Some time ago, we used to burn people at the stake or cleanse the blood of fire. Well, we don't do that with religions here. So you have to come here, and if you practice your religion and you have bad things in it that hurt other people, well, you can't practice that here in the United States. And we've shown in the past that we've limited certain religions on doing those things.
So we've actually done that.
Yeah, you can't marry multiple women here in this country with the way the Mormon religion used to be set up. You can't purify people with fire like it used to be done in the Puritan days, right? But there's still sects that practice their religion. You look at the Mennonites or the folks up there in Pennsylvania. They have their own societies, but they still come out to vote. They're Americans. They have American ideals. They just live within our laws and practice their religion.
So do we not have polygamous groups living in the United States anymore?
As far as I'm aware, you can only have one person in marriage, right? One man or one woman. If you can't marry multiple wives. Now they may be living, or legally, but they may be living with each other, and that's something completely different. But when it comes to marriage, it's one man and one woman, right?
Yeah, as we understand it, it is. I just thought that we still had those polygamous groups that bought out compounds and they're running their own cities.
I mean, yeah, sister wives, but I don't think they're legally married, right? So, I mean, there's one thing if you have a sex cult out there, but it's another thing to do it within our laws when it comes to marriage and everything.
Hey, Mike, did you want to come up and join us?
It is. Can't hear you.
We can't hear you. Hold on.
I got it.
You
Turn
just
it up.
shut it
There
off.
it is. Thanks for joining the show tonight, Justin. I think it's amazing that you guys give us the time of day and you're out here, spreading your message. You guys can hear me all right, right?
No.
You're a little low. Yeah.
A little
Yeah, turn it up.
Yeah, well,
There you go.
I just unpacked from the event the other night where I saw you and 6 other candidates really put out a good message, and that whole event is actually uploaded on multiple pages. So anybody who didn't catch it, I encourage you to go back and find that on any of our channels or on the Sunshine Journal. I think the Republican Club published it also. I'm not sure, but I think it's amazing though, coming from your background. F-18 pilot, smart guy, and you still want to get into politics. I give you guys all the credit in the world for sticking your neck out there, and it's no doubt, it's no surprise that somebody who would stick their neck out there flying a fighter jet for their country would do the same getting into public service too. So I just want to say thank you, and I appreciate your service to the country and
Mm-hmm.
getting in the race. There's so many people in the race, and it really comes back down to getting Soto or Sodor. I don't even know his name because he's so
That's
new.
Darren Soto, right?
Yeah, it's so important to get him out of there. I mean, we're Indian River County, the only coastal community, I believe, in District 9, the newly drawn District 9.
Yeah.
So there's a lot at stake for us, I feel like.
Yeah.
I feel like we're kind of the outsider, and the guy we're putting in there that brings money back home for the lagoon and for agriculture means a lot to us. And, you know, the way the highways run, it was always, you know, convenient. You got, you know, Herodopolis was right up the road. You know, now it's the other direction, but it's all one and the same. It's just awkward for us, but we're just so glad that you guys come to Indian River County, and we're just not ignored because it's you know, it is. It's and, you know, it's not my life, but it does. It feels like we're the outsiders.
No,
We're the new kid on the block. We're the new kid on the.
Yeah,
on the
we
old
were
block.
spoiled.
definitely not. And Mike or Herodopolis lives maybe 30 minutes from me. Like it's not that far down the road from me. So
You're that close. Oh.
yeah,
He's in Merritt
it's
Island, and you're in St. Cloud.
St. Cloud. It's right down. We go down to Bureau all the time. Believe it or not, that's part of my sphere of influence in my life down there. So it's
That's cool.
it's Orlando has gotten so big and like I can't take it. So we do all of our stuff out on the coast now, and a lot of it's down in Bureau, and definitely when we get to office. We'll have an office right there. I sat there and asked for, so there's two of us that got signatures to get on the ballot. It's been a diligent effort for us, for me, for about a year. And we went out and collected petitions. And once they got to get on the ballot, once they announced the whole district, it was like, all right, wow, we're Vero now. And so we went down there and stood outside your DMV or your
SOE.
Yeah, the beautiful facility down there. Not the SOE. That's kind of out by itself, but you know the
Oh, okay. You're talking about where we pay our taxes, the property
government center down there.
taxes,
You
the
know,
Board
sat
of
there.
County
By the
Commissioner.
airport.
Yeah,
Where
it's east of the airport.
Robbie has his office right down there. The DMV's downstairs. It's just and then it's a whole compound. There's another building to get stuff done. So, but. And that's where my office will be, right there, you know, so that way everyone has touch with their congressman. And I have every intention to come down, at least, you know, Washington gets busy, but when we get down, touch one part of the district every time I'm home and come down and talk to people. So many of these congressmen, they have representatives of the people come and talk to the representatives of the people, right? So like hey, send out the invite. Whoever wants to come, peg me with questions. I'm an open book. I have nothing to hide on this. I tell everyone my service to our country and my community was 20 years in the Marine Corps. This one, and we were talking about my kids earlier before the show. This one's for the kids, guys. Like if we don't start saving the country for the kids, you know, you can send all of us on stage, you can send an immigrant to Congress. You can send a mental health professional to Congress. You can send a preacher man to Congress or a farmer to Congress or a builder. Who am I missing? And
There's a variety.
and listen,
Mike, you're hard to hear.
and me, I'm just an old F-18 pilot veteran that hung my spurs up a few years ago, and I'm just sending a dad to Congress to do what's right for our children, guys. And so, if we don't keep the future on the horizon, like literally, it's one generation away from losing this, and it's not going to happen on my watch. While I'm walking this earth, we're not going to lose this. So,
I feel like it is the generation that we're losing it at because my
Yeah.
daughter's 28. You know.
Justin, have you served on any other government bodies at all, school boards, anything like that?
No,
That's kind of refreshing sometimes.
I'm not a politician, guys. It's I've read, educate myself, and you know we all have opinions. And like I said, I stuck my hat in this rink a year ago to get rid of the Democrat that's over there. Now we're all a bigger, happier family, and it's a lot easier in that sense. But of course, there's 7 of us in this sense. So to me, no matter how much money gets spent in the primary, it's still a toss-up. There's not going to be that many votes that decide who wins the primary election.
Right. My other main question I ask every Floridian now in this political landscape. I know it's a federal office you're running for, but I wouldn't care if you're running for the Mosquito District. No, Amendment 3. As a Floridian, will you be voting yes or no for Amendment 3?
Yeah.
And what would you say let's say today you were a congressman, what would you say to the local leaders who are trying to scare the constituents into voting against it?
I would say you're there voluntarily. If you can't figure it out, quit. Let someone else come in and do the job.
Amen to that.
Yeah. Amen.
That's my litmus test for everybody. It's like this Amendment 3 is like
It's a
cracking
no-brainer.
coconuts together. It doesn't make sense to me that anybody's even against this.
Here's the deal. Like, I get a veterans discount of $5,000, not dollar for dollar, but a reduction of but that same $5,000 was back in the 90s or early 2000s when I went to the military, when the most expensive house in St. Cloud was $100,000. So that was 5% of the value. Now you can't get into a house for less than $4,000. Literally, they have left everyone out when it comes to our homestead exemptions, and it's time that we thank Governor DeSantis. I wish it would have been more along the lines of his program where we're going for complete and total elimination.
Yeah, they totally changed it.
But I think it's just a sign of the times where people have just had enough. Stop coming and taxing our houses, and so.
Yeah,
That's- and it's funny when
Our
people-
local governments have gotten drunk. Blaze came in Angolia and he did a deep dive into the budgets and said where everything is. And you got to understand, Osceola County, it's just mainly all Democrats in every level of government. And so it's, the commissioners would say, oh, we haven't raised your millage ever. But it's amazing, the property tax appraiser would raise the taxes just enough to cover their, $300 million budget increase, and it's time to get that out of their hands. So I'm looking forward to it.
Me too. And it's not like taxes are totally going away. We're still paying taxes.
They're still going to get money.
They're still getting money.
They're still,
And
the
the housing market is still increasing.
And guess what, guys? Fund the police first, fund the sheriffs first, fund the firefighters first, fund all our essential services first. The schools are going to still get funded. They're on their own program.
Yep.
And the way the state's set up, the sheriff will get what he wants. It
Yeah.
might
Sure.
take a little bit of pushback, but he's going to get his budget.
He's
if
going
he
to
has
get his
take it to
budget. We're
Tallahassee.
still going to have safe streets. You just got to prioritize. They don't want to prioritize. They want to have their little slush funds. Each one of our commissioners has like a $200,000 slush fund that they just buy stuff in the county with. And that's someone's home that they have that didn't pay a tax that they auctioned off on the county steps. Like literally, there's so many seniors.
or the NGO, the money they funnel to NGOs
Right.
in the county who have representatives that sit on the grant committees. Our
Yeah.
county alone, I think last year did 3.9 million to NGOs.
Yeah. And they
So-
want to do 4 million next year. I wish Blaze would come and doge that.
We hounded him to get him down here. Just hound him.
Yeah.
Just hound him.
I mean, we're a small town to be.
He'll
we
do
have-
it. He loves it.
We have 170,000 residents, and we're spending. They want to spend 4 million next year on nonprofits.
I know it's crazy.
And then they're telling that we've got some politicians saying, "Oh, the homestead vote no on 3 because we're not going to know where to get the money." And I'm thinking, well, how about you just stop giving our money to NGOs?
remember, it's not charity. Whenever the money they take comes at the point of a gun,
Right.
It's robbing and it's a redistribution.
When you don't have a say where your money goes. That's right.
It can never be charity. Charity comes from the heart. When your money is taken from you at the point of a gun and given to somebody, that's no longer charity. That's a special interest.
So
Yep,
once
that's
again,
what it is.
Justin, we've taken up an hour of your time. Hope we didn't have too many technical difficulties getting everything on board. It seems like it's not a show of ours unless there's a few hiccups along the way. But we do appreciate you, and a great not performance, but great message the other night. I feel
Yeah.
like every one of you guys have your heart in the right area. Just the priorities, is what we're looking for as voters, and stability and cognitively, if I'm saying that even right, all of the above. I think it's a tough choice for where I'm sitting, and I do appreciate you guys for stepping aside, especially you younger guys with families like I have that I wouldn't even think about putting my name on a ballot this day and age. And
Yeah.
I'm more comfortable talking about it on this side. So, but
Well,
I
it's
appreciate
tough when
it.
you have a family, you know, we appreciate that because raising
Yeah.
kids takes your time and you got to be there for your kids too.
And they love daddy, and I still try to work a little bit to put food on the table. I don't know if I'm the only one that's still working or not, but so I'm gone away for that for a couple days and come home, but I'm not complaining. I put myself in this situation, but it's worth it to make sure that we get up there and fight for them to have a better country. I mean, 40 trillion in debt, adding $1 trillion every year just in interest. Every 120 days, we're adding $1 trillion to the debt just in overspending, and we have to start reining this in, guys. If not, that's our number one threat, a wasted currency. Already our younger generations can't afford things because our dollar is just not worth so much.
So how do you feel about us funding foreign wars?
Like Ukraine, I think
Yeah.
my answer was no on that. And that's a whole nother discussion with the rules of engagement. Like you see these videos of these guys over there just resting and targeting with drones. In our war, we weren't. If someone shot your buddy next to you and they turned their back and ran, you weren't allowed to shoot them. Or if we're coming on a strike mission, there had to be 0 outside casualties other than the people that you were targeting. Like the rules of engagement that they have there seems like, I don't know, it's insanity. Like some guy's just he's running, like literally no longer a threat, and they're chasing them down and killing them. So,
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
Oh, wow.
it's just I don't believe in this whole concept of trying out new weapons on, like, literally these guys, you see the videos, they're getting drug out of their homes and sent to the front line. And the thing is, they can't even vote to change the government. They're just like, even during our Civil War, we had a vote, and when it came to Lincoln. And so
They should have noticed when he shut down the churches, except for the state church. They should have all revolted then. I hate to say it. But
the people no longer have a say in there, and I'm not for anything where the people don't have a say. So even Churchill during World War II, he went into the House of Commons and gave asked for a confidence vote every time. Anytime any media, anything happened, he did it twice, I think. And so just to make sure the people have a say. And right now the people over there don't have a say, and we're just feeling it with and then the corruption, that money. You see these politicians over there have these vehicles that are just amazing, and probably houses, rumors of houses in Florida and their getaway plans and everything. That's my money. Like that's our kids' money, and it's and we're feeling that. All right, guys, I got dinner waiting for me.
All right.
I got one real quick question, and then we'll let you go. Win or lose August 18th, would you come back on the show and update us on the campaign and where your position is after that election?
Yeah, of course, guys. Yeah.
Awesome.
We'll come down and talk to you guys for sure.
Thanks a lot, Justin. And we'll let you go, and we'll carry on. Thank you, Justin.
All right, y'all have a good night. Take care.
Have a good evening.
Bye-bye.
All right, great show, guys. I really appreciate you guys jumping in and keeping things rolling. These past couple, actually the last 2 weeks have been kind of tough here at home with Mom in the ICU. Dad was in progressive care for a couple days, but they're both doing really good right now. So things are getting a little back to normal.
That's good. All those prayers and good energy in the universe for your family.
No lie. There's so many people praying for her and us. It's really come through. And I want to say thank you to everybody who's been understanding, including my full-time job outside of here, which I hope I still have. It's been one of those weeks. So, so thank you guys for definitely jumping in there and praying for my mom and dad. So it really does touch the heart. And
it's good
vibrations. It works, man. Prayers heal, because I've watched it. I watched it with my mother, who was not looking good 2 days ago. And yesterday they took the ventilator off her. Today she's talking. She still has a long way to go, but she's got some infections she's still fighting off, but she's.
And your dad got to see his bride, right?
Oh yeah. He was. He got to see her yesterday, which made the day. Their anniversary was the 27th, and that was I think the first day. He was too sick. He had to go to the ER. He couldn't go to the ICU.
Man, that must
Thank
have been
God
hard.
They're both on the mends. It's going to be a long road ahead, but we'll get through it, especially with prayers and the love she's had. So, besides that, we did that event the other night, was a great showing. They had a great turnout for that public event.
Yeah, it was great. Yeah.
There was some things I would do different next time with lighting and stuff like that, but
Yeah,
it was a trial and error, and I think everybody enjoyed it. Plus, like I said, it's out there now. Thomas, I think, re-released a version with a adjusted audio, so if that was a bother with the audio, you can catch that new upload too. But there's another event next week. I'm not sure we're going to be able to stream that, but the Indian River GOP has a guest speaker, I believe. Right, Joanne? I don't have a flyer in front of me.
Yeah, I don't have the flyer in front of me, but they've got
if you're
a guest
interested in
speaker.
attending any of those, follow the Facebook pages of these groups, and you'll usually find a link to RSVP or something like that. So I don't know. I saw Alex Newman on the flyer, and then some other guest speaker about that.
The guest speaker's Mike Sabga. Is that what it says? Sabga?
No idea.
I was trying to look
I know
at
somebody
it here, but Alex
handed it to
Newman
me,
is
and
on
it's-
there.
Yeah, now is he a guest speaker?
Mike Sabga.
Oh, here it is.
The big deal about big data and AI is what the topic is.
And that's August 12th at 5:30.
I love Newman. Alex Newman's great.
He's good.
He is
That's at the
good.
Heritage Center in Vero Beach, August 12th at 5:30.
To
I don't know if
6:30.
you have to RSVP or not. I don't know. That's usually the night we do To The Point podcast, and we haven't done
That's my
a podcast
birthday.
in like a month. So,
That's my
you know,
birthday.
we might have to pass on that free broadcast for the Indian River GOP because, well, happy birthday, Joanne.
August 12th. That's my birthday.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
So, guys, I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to go home and,
All right.
We're gonna go.
eat some
Let's
dinner.
close it out, man.
Awesome. Thank you guys again, and we will see you next week. No guest next week so far, so we
Trying
can
to
probably
get Dan Green on, but he
Well,
hasn't answered.
let's wrap. If he responds, that's great. Dan Green, you're more than welcome to come on. But we do have political advertisements, paid political advertisements, so don't get your feelings hurt. And otherwise, we're going to talk about their messages behind their backs, unless they're watching. But we'll just turn the next two episodes into commentary when it comes down to our local and federal elections coming up.
Yeah.
Sounds good?
That's
Yes,
it.
sounds
All right.
good.
Don't forget to check out the website. We have new news articles on the news page, and then we still have our merch for America's Commemorative 250 shirt and the Conspiracy Club.
Yep.
Yeah, so there's always that. So, all right, guys, have a good night.
Cool.
Have a good night. Are we ready?